Hi, my name is Danielle DeRocher, and I've been a strong Christian for the past 12 years, and I've experienced things like exorcism, shared dreams, shared visions, faith healing, physical healing, shared dreams, and so many things, and just getting faith healing and things like that. And right now, what I want to talk about is um, how do dreams come true, and what are the stages of dreams coming true, and what to expect when God gives us a dream. So in my life, I was kind of doing it my own way and trying to figure out life by myself up until I was about, well, give or take, about 27 years old. By before then, I sometimes was a Christian, but it wasn't. I didn't have active faith. I doubted my faith, and I wasn't sure about my faith. But it wasn't until I was 27 that my faith was manifested, and I realized that I did have faith in Jesus and I can rely on Him. And it was when I was 27 years old, I started having dreams and visions about my future. My first vision was two angels hovering over Niagara Falls saying, "Don't be afraid." And at the time, I was in a desperate situation. It was warning me to not be afraid. And then my second vision was hovering over the Pope at the Vatican City, looking out at hundreds of thousands of people. And it was just like a big vision. So what I want to talk about is those two visions, plus another dream that I had about my future pregnancies. But I'm going to focus more on the first two visions because it helps to align everything that else that's happening in my life. So the first stage of dreams is that God has to give you a dream. So um, that vision that I had about being at the Vatican, that was in 2014. And it wasn't until this year, 2026, that I started feeling like I wanted to strive for that. Like I wanted to like head towards that. Like I want to follow my God given dream. Because that was the first vision. That was one of the first visions I had that didn't come from me, that I felt like came from God. And it was a vision of my future. And I know other people have had visions like this in the past. Like what was encouraging was when I read the story about Lauren Daigle. She also had a vision where she saw thousands of people in like a concert hall, and she actually made that dream come true through her choices and her following God. And that gave me courage to follow my faith and my vision that I had about the Pope and being at the Vatican City. And um, so I've been reflective of that. Like, what does it mean? And for the longest time, I thought it meant that I was going to be spiritually mature, that I will reach spiritual maturity. But I think it's more than just symbolical at this point, because at the time when I had the vision, I was desperate. I almost died actually because I hurt myself pretty bad because I was in a really desperate, terrible situation. And so I think God was kind of giving me a rope, saying, if you stay alive and if you don't hurt yourself, this vision will come true. And so now I'm just following it. I'm trying to be a strong believer. I'm trying to be a strong Christian. I'm trying to help out my church community and everything like that, hoping to fulfill that calling somehow. And I believe it actually has to do with more having to do with my dream that I had back in 2018. So when I was I was also desperate at the time, and I was praying to God because I was with my new boyfriend. I didn't know what our future held. I didn't know if we were fertile, if we were going to have any babies. So I prayed desperately, and I said, God, what is in my future? How many kids am I going to have? And then I proceeded to dream that I was in a talk show, game show with Kirk Cameron, Bob Saget as the host, and I won three lotteries. And the host asked me, "How did you do this?" And I said, "I prayed," and everyone started bowing down. And I believe that that has to come true. The two baby miracle pregnancies has to come true before the vision of the Vatican comes true. And I believe that is there a part of my dream already has come true because I already have one baby. And there was a show a year later after my dream that was by Kirk Cameron called One on One, where he was playing like a game show talk show where he would talk to them about faith, and then he would do competitive games. So I believe that so part of my dream, part of my life now has been trying to follow that. Even though it seems impossible, I'm trying to follow my God given dreams. And I believe that they're gonna happen because He gave it to me and He knows my destiny and my future. So part of like choosing to follow God is choosing to follow what may seem like an impossible feat. How are we gonna have two miracle pregnancies when my husband has a vasectomy? How are we gonna reach the Vatican when we're like, we're not even Catholic? Like, how is that even gonna happen? So it's just kind of interesting to see how God might show up and how he might do things. So the second stage, as I was saying, so first you God gives you a dream. The second stage is you choose to follow the dream, and that's been my path in the last year, has been to follow my dreams. And then the third stage, you experience delays, and we're definitely in a stage where we're waiting, we're willing, but we're waiting servants, and we're waiting. And they say when you're waiting, you should serve. So right now, I'm serving a lot in my church. I'm serving as an assistant pastor, as a youth pastor, as a kids pastor, as a baker. And I support my lead pastor as well. And I have a Facebook group and a YouTube channel and a Bible study. So there's lots of ways that I'm serving. They say when you're waiting, you should serve. So I've been serving like crazy. And then you're going to experience testing. And that's been my biggest struggle is when I talk to people about my dream, their first reaction is about the dream about the pregnancies and the lottery wins. And they say, well, what if it was just an adoption? What if you're supposed to adopt? Well, I ended up having a dream a couple years ago, like after the first dream, where I was taking care of twins and they were suffering and they were like being neglected and ultimately got annihilated and turned into dust. And then everyone was making me feel like it was okay that they were annihilated. And then I woke up with the words expect pregnancy. And it was just right across my vision, expect pregnancy. And I think that was like my response to that. God's response to that was, no, you're gonna have a pregnancy. So don't you believe the lies that it's gonna be an adoption. No, it's gonna be a pregnancy. So sometimes people test me with that and they say, oh, well, what if it's not a pregnancy? What if it's just an adoption? And I'm saying, I believe it's God says no, it's actually a pregnancy. So when God gives you your own response to the testing, that's a great sign that there's something big that's coming up. So that's great. And then sometimes you experience dead ends, and we're definitely at a dead end because my husband has had vasectomy since 2019, 2020, and there's just nothing happening. We're just waiting. We're just wondering when it's going to happen. And so it feels like a dead end. It definitely feels like we're at that stage. And then the last stage is deliverance. So when it's kind of like Moses with all the people, the Israelites, they were stuck at the river, at the waters, and he needed God to split the waters, and that was the deliverance. It was an impossible situation, and then it was a deliverance. So I believe it's coming close. I believe that we should have our future promised children soon. The other two that I'm waiting on, and it's just a matter of just trusting in the stage or the season that you're in, knowing what step you're on, and it gives you courage to keep going. So these tactics I've actually learned from their book called Created to Dream by Rick Warren. So I really recommend you read that book. It's a really good book. But I just wanted to share that with you because I'm if you're in a situation where you're waiting for your miracle, you're waiting for your healing, you're waiting for the future visions to come true, I just want to give you reassurance that it will come true. You just have to have faith and believe in the waiting and in the delay, and would believe even when people are testing you, and believe even when it seems like you're at a dead end, and you still believe, and God will deliver you from that. So I just wanted to share that with you, and thank you for listening. If this encourages you, please like or subscribe. And I want to share. I want to use this YouTube channel to share dreams and to talk about dreams and to interpret dreams and to see if there's connections between people's dreams, the dreams and things like that. So please comment down below if you have a dream like that where you're waiting for it to come true. But just pray for me. I'm not the youngest girl in the world, and I'm not the most fittest girl in the world. And I know if I'm gonna get pregnant, it has to be from God because I can't do this on my own. I'm 39 years old. I'm turning 40 in a year. So I just turned 39, and I'm just like, I'm hoping for my pregnancies, I'm hoping for my babies, but it just seems like it's getting further and further away. And I could use some prayer too. And so if you can pray for me for my promised future children, and um, I could use all the help I can get. So thank you so much for listening. I hope that was encouraging for you, just to know that other people are still waiting for their dreams to come true, and that you should always have faith and hope, because in the Bible it says we should have faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love. And that in this world, faith and hope is so important. It's not in heaven, because when we are in heaven, we don't need faith because we can see what we see, and then we won't need hope because everything is there that we need. But love is still the common element between heaven and earth. So help me with my faith, help me with my hope, but pray for me. And I pray for the love of God to reach over your life. And I pray, Lord, that anybody else who's suffering from waiting on a dream that's been taking decades to be fulfilled, and waiting for others, people to be saved, or waiting for physical ailments to be healed, or for miracle pregnancy conceptions, or anything like that, Lord, that we will have the patience to keep going in our faith and keep fighting the good fight until God can call us his good and faithful servant. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. All right, thank you so much and have a wonderful day.